Let's see who is going to put himself in an amazing position to make a top 4 finish in Group C. In the bottom right side, we are looking at the main base of the man who's really surprised me this season. He's playing fantastic StarCraft. He's been around for such a long time, but this is the best I've seen him play in quite some time. This is DnS.
Near the left-hand side, our red Protoss player is Strange.
I was actually excited to talk about this, Whitey. Strange is one of the very, very few Protosses on the European server that does not believe in walling up. Now, whenever people see this, the first thing they always ask is like, why don't you just make 2 adapts against it? That's obviously because he's kind of expecting you to do that. And what he likes to do is just have 4 units in his main base immediately. So if you then shade in your first 2 adepts, well, you might kill 2 pros, but losing 2 adepts for 2 probes is not necessarily a great trade. There's obviously up and downsides to it. I think the worst thing that could happen for Strange is where DNS does open with the adepts, but then he doesn't commit immediately. But just having them there, having the threat around that you can keep shading in non-stop, I think that's where it really starts hurting if you don't have a wall up.
Yeah, absolutely. You were kind of not walling off for a while, weren't you, Roddy? It was...
Still am, but I am not going to go on the record and say that I'm doing great with it in PvP, but I just do it because I'm old and lazy, Waddy. I can't be bothered to lose that mining time, you know.
It's a tough life out there already in the ladder, isn't it?
It really is. It doesn't come any easier. Sometimes I wish we could time travel back to 2012 and be like, you know what? The dream is still so alive.
Man, the group was just up to the screen. I gotta say, if you told me DNS and Strange were going to be number 3 and 4 after so many games were played, I really wouldn't have expected that in this group.
Now, Strange has just been doing a great job for himself because the 2 series that he won them 2-0, 2-0, 2-0 against Goblin and 2-0 versus Cass, I believe, yes. Now, those are obviously 2 series that if you want to make it out of this group, you have to win them. And he took a map of Uthermal in the series he lost, and he also took a map of Raynor. Now, obviously, Goblin and Marine also took a map over Raynor, and Goblin also took a map with Thermal, but it's fun to see how competitive this group is, because a lot of people probably expected a 7-0, 14-0 out of Raynor. Well, that's definitely not happening, and then even second place is open, third place is open, top 4 is still completely open. And even Denver, who's like, it looks kind of sad, I mean, you're like, oh, he's in 7th place. Well, he's still completely in the mix with 2 wins and 3 losses. And he has already played Raynor, of course.
Yeah, no, it's pretty crazy, actually. There's so much going on in these groups. I actually feel like, for me, I feel like this is the most exciting season of the DreamHack Masters so far. It just feels like, I know we've had some crazy results, but it's been close. I feel like this season's been crazy from the very first week. You know, it's been a lot of fun to follow as we do get Nexus down on both sides of the map. We do have a Twilight Council already finishing from Strange. Again, that Twilight finished so early, it's just going to go directly into Blink.
One thing I'm a bit surprised by as we go over the groups is Group B being so clear-cut when it comes to the top 4, right? It's just Max, Showtime, and Gabe are duking it out over top 2, and then it seems like Skillis is just gonna pick up the remaining top 4 slot. Yeah, and I didn't really expect that, especially now with the performance Gerald put up over the last year, where he made it into the playoffs all 3 seasons and even had a top 6 finish, I believe, once.
Yeah, that Group B definitely has a... I feel like Garrett was meant to be the one guy to put up a bit more of a fight there, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Or maybe, yeah, like a couple of crazy upsets of the Russian. Maybe Milky Cow wins the series here and there. Braddock probably not going to make top 4, but you expect him to be competitive. And you also thought that maybe if there was a group for Stefano to deal some damage, yeah, maybe not against the big 3, but against the other guys, kind of had some hopes for Stefano there too. But other than that, I'm completely with you. Every group still has things to fight for, even that Group B. Of course, we want to know who finishes top 2. And then this one is still wide open. Group D is still wide open, even though Lambo and So are dominating, but Lambo still has the top guys left. It's a lot of fun stuff to look forward to, and I'm really enjoying to see how it's all going to play out.
Absolutely. This pylon over here for DNS was seen by Strange's probe on the high ground. So he's going to go and just make sure to clean that up, just, you know, get rid of that presence on the map. DNS has to make sure he's got another pylon ready to go. This DC hallucination coming through. Yeah, cannon from DNS.
Seems like he's paranoid about DTs. I mean, maybe that pile in the top side, he's like, that's just the kind of pile where people warp in DTs and then they run into my base, but that's not happening. Don't want to make too big of a fuss of this cannon. It's not like it's the end of the world to spend 150 minerals, but it is a little bit awkward. You don't normally see that at this level.
Yep, no, it's definitely a little bit different from what we're used to seeing in this early game PvP, so with you there is we do just get into a third base already, but Strange is about to show up with all of these stalkers, and I feel like DnS is, I like this. He's going to walk past the third, so he's going to launch a fire, and DnS isn't expecting it. Blink straight on top, no blink ready for DnS. Force field kind of completely missed. I mean, now the cannon's actually going to help out a little bit.
Yeah, but is it going to help out enough? It's important for Strange to just gun down units one by one. Do we have a battery overcharge? It seems like there's no energy available, so we can't overcharge. And Strange, who's super decisive and clutch, finding a lot of damage. I don't know if it's enough to straight up win the game. It's starting to look like it. I really feel that DnS maybe should have thought about canceling that Nexus, right? Because it feels like some extra minerals in the bank there would have came in real handy. He's still in a lot of trouble. Obviously, Strange is quite committed. You say that he's going to drop a few more gateways at home and in the simulator, but this Nexus will still go down in the end. DnS wants to save it with his Immortal, but it's going to show up too late. Well done by Strange. That was a very well executed attack as he blinks forward again. This man has no fear.
No fear at all. The Stalkers come back in. Nexus still taking some hits. They're going to go blinking back, and Stalker's taking some shots. A force field goes down, knocking that Stalker off as well.
I don't know if I like that DnS let it finish up. I understand that he's like, I've got the Immortal, but the Immortal by itself, and it's only protected by 3 Stalkers and a Sentry, and then it just becomes a sitting duck. You know that DnS is just going to activate the barrier, disengage, and then blink on top of it with a few more Stalkers. I wish the DnS would have cancelled it. I feel like he should have cancelled it the very first time that Strange blinked into his natural.
Yeah, I'm with you. Just, I mean, it's almost like Strange avoiding it did more damage than it was meant to. I'm with you. I think cancelling it would have been... It was just obviously needed. He wasn't going to keep it alive. So, yeah. I'm taking a lot of words to say. I agree, Roddy. Well said.
So decisive, though, by Strange, and that's fun to see, right? Because you often see players kind of second-guess themselves a little bit when they make it into the big leagues for the first time. Now, of course, Strange is not a new player. He's someone that's been around for a long time. I remember him participating in the WESG offline event in Kiev back then. He just really struggled making it into DreamHack last year, which everyone was surprised by. All the pros that play against Strange a lot, people that are die-hard fans, is like, why is Strange not participating? Did he not try? It's like, oh no, he tried. He tried every qualifier, but those Euro qualifiers are hard. This time he made it in, and he's looking real good, and he blinks forward again, guns down the Immortal immediately. Gonna have to show some respect to all these Zealots, though.
Yep, backing it up a little bit. That one more DnS now can't actually get in the fight, though, so DnS losing a lot of units without actually having his full firepower there. And that's obviously not the way you wanted to go at all. One Immortal and 6 Zealots for 9 Stalkers going down.
It's not a great trade for Strange, but it's okay if he just keeps the aggression up, because Zealots are only very good in high numbers. If you only have 3 or 4 Zealots, then Strange is just going to out-micro it. Gateway is kind of far away. It really works against Strange. The DnS has taken this base, and that just turns out to be a great decision, because if this fight would have taken place on where DnS took the expand the first time, then Strange can just reinforce immediately, right? And then I actually think it becomes problematic. Now DnS has enough time to stabilize and drag this game on. Strange going for Resonating Glaives, by the way. It's quite cool.
Yep. It's something a little bit different. I know Skillis was being a fan of a lot of like heavy Resonating Glaive plays and just Glaives after the early game, so we'll see if it works out here. Obviously, Adepts can do pretty well against Zealots. We'll see if that's going to be the case here, as I'm a little worried though. +1 attack is done here from DnS, and he's also rocking your charge versus no Glaives just now. So DnS's army in this very moment looks pretty good. Good force fields on those Stalkers.
Excellent force fields, but I do think it was a bit of an unnecessary forward blink there by Strange. All of that to pick up an observer. I don't know if that's a trade that I'm willing to make. It's kind of funny that DnS is attacking Strange now, because Strange actually wants to attack DnS with that Warp Prism finishing up, and that's really good against Zealots in high numbers. But I don't know if these numbers are really here yet, and is DnS actually still going to win this game after being in all this trouble in the early game?
I mean, he very well might. This is a very powerful attack right now. Glaives is done, Adepts is starting to fire, but so many workers are going down, and DnS is going to deal with this counter-attack. then across the map and making it happen in the end. I was with Roddy. I actually thought Strange was doing everything right, but miscalculated one or two of those fights, and just not having the upgrade, not having glaives initially, definitely seemed to hurt him.
Yep, and just a forward blink too many, man. Like that one forward blink to pick up the Immortal. I didn't hate it that much because I thought he was going to continue fighting, and he did shave off a lot of Zealots afterwards too. Then he disengaged. I'm like, well, then it becomes a worse trade, of course, because it's 9 Stalkers for only 1 expensive unit and then 6 Zealots are relatively cheap. But then that final blink, that was just a bit unnecessary. He lost 5 Stalkers immediately. You said it, great force fields by DNS, but those were only great force fields because the Stalkers couldn't blink away.
No, absolutely. It was bit of an exciting few moments. We get ourselves ready for this map number 2, 2000 atmospheres. So we're going to go from a shorter map to a larger map, Roddy.
I mean, we talked about how decisive Strange was, but that was also very decisive by DNS because he was at 44 probes, Waddy. So not only was he eventually going to face an army with a buttload of adepts, he was doing it while being economically behind, and that's really where adepts normally just shred the zealots. If you can get up to 15 to 20 adepts, every zealot that runs forward just gets picked off immediately. And DNS hit right before Glaives and then got a donation of 5 Stalkers. Pretty sick victory. I don't think that DNS really expected to win that game anymore. At one point, I even just thought it was early. That cannon, Marty! The cannon truly came in handy.
I know, the cannon we were joking about and laughing about a little bit, and actually, he really did help out, didn't it? Maybe he just knew, Roddy. Maybe he just knew much more than we did.
It's like at first it was like, that cannon is good against DTs. Apparently it's also good against a crazy Russian that only knows how to blink forward right on top of your units, and it worked out until it didn't. Strange paying the price for it with 2 adventurous blinks there in the end. DNS is on a roll, mate. Let's see what game 2 has in store for us. 2000 atmospheres. Strange has won at least a map in every best of 3 he played so far. Let's see if he can continue that. This man is going to try to prevent that from happening. In the bottom left side, taking the 1-0 lead after a rather crazy game on Lightshade, Frenchman DNS.
Up against the red cross on the top right hand side. Can he take that map he's been doing every time? It's Strange.
Really cool to see this performance of DNS. I don't want to say this kind of coming out of nowhere, but it's been around for such a long time. And when we had our offline events, when the circuit was still called the WCS circuit, he did have a couple decent runs, right? He often made it into the playoffs, then he played against Big Gabe, and then he often lost that one. But a couple top 16s here and there, so we know that he belonged, or we knew that he belonged to the upper echelon of European StarCraft players. But last year, you had 7 best of 3s to show what you were made of. Was not able to make it out of the groups once. This is looking so damn good this season.
Yeah, no, I'm 100% with you. I've not really thought of him as a contender for quite a while, honestly. And it's just, this season, definitely. I went into this season thinking that, and he's absolutely proved me wrong. He's almost like you said the other day in the interview, right? He was like, I'm definitely feeling better than I have in a while, but I'm not quite at my peak, right? I'm not as good as I was at, when I was at my very best. And I think that's actually a pretty good way of looking at it.
I'm shocked. This is having a field day so far. 3-1, now 1-0 up in his 5th best of 3 of the tournament. And of course, there is money on the line for every single best of 3 that these guys play. I believe you get $125 for winning. None of these guys are too concerned with that. That's something you start thinking of once you're eliminated or you've already made it past your group. Top 4 is the aim for most players, and obviously some players will only settle for top 2.
Yep. A lot of different expectations in an event this big. Pretty cool to see everyone competing and having a good time with it. It's going to be really fun to see where everybody does end up, though, isn't it? I always get quite excited when we kind of see who gets top 2, who doesn't quite make the cut. I feel like there's definitely this time around going to be a lot of heartbreaks over 4th and 5th place, some map score differences, for sure.
I have to sneeze. I apologize, Martin. Take it away.
Oh, no worries at all. Well, this Nexus is going to go down to DnS.
He just got me so excited. I was like, oh, I want to get it out of my system, but I can't. Now, do we wrap up Europe on Sunday? Is that the final day of group stage games?
Yes, and then playoffs next week.
Oh, yeah, then we've got a very fun weekend ahead of us.
Yeah, no, for sure. There's so many, like I say, so many like cool storylines to wrap up over the next 2 or 3 days. It's gonna be really awesome.
DnS got a little funky early on with the pylon block that he did cancel, but he could see which units came out of the gateways of Strange. And then, of course, he was also preventing that probe from making it to the low ground. So that expand was maybe a little bit later than the Russian would like to take it. Strange was switching it up. This game he did go for the wall off. I wonder if it's a map thing, if he just feels that the depths show up earlier here, or if there is a different reason for it. I don't really know.
Yeah, maybe he just wants to play it a bit differently himself in some way or some form. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm really not an expert in like PvP wars, so.
Yeah, I mean, like the TLDR is that you're supposed to wall off, but then there are a few odd individuals out there that prefer not to wall off. And you can definitely get debated where if you feel like, oh no, wall off, we should always go at depths. Then people don't wall off. They have obviously put some thought into how to deal with the first 2 adepts, because otherwise they wouldn't make it to this level. So it's not that straightforward, but maybe if you never wall off, then it does become something that players can start taking advantage of.
Yeah, probably just good to mix stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Blink and +1 versus just the Blink. +1 can't start from DnS, just hasn't done it yet. Has the forge narrative, so pretty similar on the openings. I mean, a couple differences. DnS does have an extra stalker and an extra sentry in the game. And Strange is going to go to a faster third base, so has a lot of gas in the back.
Yeah, Strange is switching it up. This game we are going up to 3 bases immediately. Last game, of course, it was a pretty committed 2-base attack. Even proxying a gateway out on the map. And I didn't hate it, and I definitely didn't hate the execution at first. I maybe felt like we could have even continued warping in stalkers of 2 bases, because we were doing so well. But I can also understand that he was afraid that the lead would slip away if he would overpush his luck, knowing that Immortals were on the way. I feel like that game could have played out in so many different ways than it actually did.
Yeah, absolutely. As you just see, Robles finishing on up here. Third base is coming through. I hope we get a nice long game. Because I don't feel like Strange. I feel DnS loves longer games. That's like, you know, just kind of a characteristic of DNS's game. But Strange playing longer games isn't something that I really think about. I think of him as like a very mid-game kind of player. So excited to see if we can get something that goes on that little bit longer here.
No, I'm totally with you there. I think of Strange, I just think of a lot of gateway units. We can definitely get up to 4 bases if we have to, but I don't think of 6-base carrier Disruptor Tempest.
Yeah.
Sure, he does it once in a blue moon, if there is no other way, but I feel like he likes to make the difference happen with the gateway units. He's kind of a French Protoss. He's good with Blink Stalkers and Sentries, mate.
Oh, very true, very true. That's definitely Protoss.
The baguette style, we'll never forget. Lil was bringing it back. Took him a couple of years to figure out how to beat lurkers, but he's like, you know what? Maybe we can Blink Stalker our way to greatness again. He made top 4 right of the weekly last Monday. That's amazing.
Yeah. It's been really cool to see him kind of getting up into that prize money. I mean, I say prize money, now top 8 gets prize money, but you know what used to be the prize money.
I mean, even top 8 is hard to accomplish.
Especially when everyone suddenly starts signing up again because of the extra prizes.
Strange knows about his army. He's seen it. The zealot count is quite high. It's 14 zealots against only 1. Strange has 15 probes more than DnS. So this becomes very simple, guys. If Strange can hold here, he puts himself in an absolutely amazing position, and we can even hold while losing a couple probes. But let's start off with holding, which is not going to be easy. But hey, with battery overcharge, that might be the way. You can see how much DnS respects it, so he blinks forward to take care of it. But it took a little while, Waddy.
Yeah, these zealots is getting a wraparound though, and it feels like they're getting a lot of damage out here. Of course, DnS needs to do damage to the cannon in the back as well, and this may start to become a hold. The zealots get choked up moving into this position. Ooh, he doesn't actually finish off the cannon, loses the observer, and that's a hold from Strange.
Yep, we're starting to get closer and closer. Gateway count is 8 against 8, but obviously Strange still has 18 workers more than his opponent. Strange, you really don't need to go there, mate. Your opponent is incredibly committed. You can just keep doing what you've been doing, as he did a great job with his stalkers. Just defensively, no, he goes again. Well, he does get the prism, so maybe it's gonna work out. It felt unnecessary, Waddy, but I think you can get away with it with the 18 probe advantage that we have.
Yep, I think it's going to work out indeed, as he is just going to come on through. He's going to keep on chasing down the Stalker's DNS. He wanted to kill his opponent right here and now. It does not happen. When Strange holds on, gets into a great spot, about to be up the upgrade. It's already on his way toward an Immortal as well. And DnS is just running back home. Starts with his +2, but he's so far behind. Of course, the biggest thing, the 22 pro difference.
Strange read it all so well. He knew it was coming, and I thought at one point, we were having a little chitty chat, right? It was a long day, trying to make it fun, having a good time. I was like, whoa, he's got a very big probe lead. Like, I don't know if you can get away with that, but all the static defenses really paid off, especially because DnS also split off a couple of zealots into the natural. But even there was a battery and a cannon, so Strange made it easy. The only thing he had to focus on were those stalkers that he was microing. And the moment the battery overcharge is active, you know it as DnS. You cannot just A-move there, because then you just won't kill a damn unit. Protoss players know that better than any other race. And he's like, all right, I'm going to blink forward. But he was so heavy on the Zealots that he didn't quite have the firepower in his Stalkers to gun down that battery immediately. And I think it just took a little too long.
Definitely did. The battery and then the cannon as well, especially, right? The cannon just stood there forever and really just dished out a whole bunch of damage. Zealots were getting choked up. And I kind of liked it for DnS because he added on like a bunch more Stalkers after that, but yeah, then he lost the Prism, and then obviously the attack ends, and now you're still trying to, grab your way back into this game. It's still 14 workers behind, and Strange looks like he's going to start moving out down the right-hand side of the map. As he's obviously just got a massive tech advantage, so the supplies don't look very different, but it's because Strange has just teched up a lot more than DnS has.
Yep, and I really don't hate this move out, man. We've got 2 Archons, we're gonna warp in 4 additional High Templars, brings us up to 4 Archons. DnS drops a Robo Bay. I get it, you need to do something to get back into this game, but Strange is not gonna give you the time to get Disruptors out. And I have no idea how DnS is supposed to hold. Like, yes, we're gonna have to pull off the best Blink Stalker micro of all time. This army of Strange is just a lot more powerful.
Yep. I mean, it really is, as these Stalkers can get a few shots off, so it's taking some hits. Archon's moving through, Immortal coming in as well. Strange doesn't want to commit just yet, going to wait a little bit longer, but it feels like it's just a matter of time, right? He's going to start +3, start more units at home, and looks like he's just going to secure 4th base. Doesn't want to risk it.
Yeah, that's actually a brilliant play by DnS there, though, because I think if DnS does not make the movement with the Stalkers that he does, and he just stands there and receives the attack, he actually cannot hold, because the army of Strange is simply better. But he made it very hard for Strange to figure out whether or not the army was better. He even hallucinated in Colossus, but I don't think that Strange ever saw it in the first place, so that's not super important. But just the fact that he was poking and prodding with his Stalkers, and then Strange like, losing a couple Zealots, I'm gonna have a hard time getting on top of this army. I'm actually going up to 4 bases, you're still on 3. Maybe I should disengage. But because DnS made all those movements, he is disengaging. DnS kind of gives himself a chance in this game. He's still behind. But now at least we've got a disrupt route. And if there's one, there's often more to come. Very well done there. Because if DnS just stands back, sits back, and then fights, he loses. Really cool movement with the Stalkers.
Hallucination flying overhead. DnS is at least able to keep an eye on what his opponent's army looks like. He moves the Stalkers over here and of course Strange to come and react, and that's what you need to do at the moment.
Just buy time. Run all the way to the bottom right side. This is like a football game, man, where you're leading 1-0 in the injury time. You go to the corner flag, you move the ball a little bit. Okay, like sometimes we can't get the ball over the line and we end up losing it. That's kind of what happened there, but he's just buying time for that disruptor count to go up. And I like it, man. With 4 disruptors, yeah, we're down 30 supply. Nothing that a Novar 2 can't fix, Waddy.
Yeah, with disruptors, anything is possible. In fact, I get a little worried for Strange. I know it seems ridiculous, but we've seen crazy things happen with these disruptors, and they are going to start flying blinks in to go for it. Now you've got to send both the disruptor shots out, and those are the only ones you have left, so it's not going to be the difference. Not this time around. Strange is going to push on through to tie the series up to the 1-1.
Yep, once more, Strange will not lose the series 2-0, and instead he's still in the running to eventually win this one too. He's playing a pretty amazing series, especially if you take into consideration how close he was to winning that first game 2 on Lightshade. I'm enjoying myself, buddy.
Alright, we're going to enjoy ourselves some more, getting into game 3 after this quick little set of throws.
welcome back to the DreamHack StarCraft 2 Master Summer, where we are getting ready to hop into the final game of the European part of this show. We've got 17 best of 3s ahead of us in the NA region. I believe it's something like that, Wadi. And with a bit of luck, at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, you will be done. And you can start moving. I know you're excited for that, but I know you're also excited for Game 3. So let's go ahead and hop on into it. Romanticide will be our battleground. Take it away, mate.
In the bottom right-hand side, our red cross player is going to be Strange.
And in the top left side, we're looking at the main base of the guy that we've been talking about quite a bit today, but Strange has not. Let's see if he can still close it out, though. This is DnS. You know what I'm loving about today, Wadi? Is that a lot of games just play out in ways that we didn't really expect. Go back to the ZVZ with Elazer Vanya. I'm glad that Elazer was with us, you know, because some people are like, oh, why the commentators make it seem like it's so bad for Elazer? And then Elazer's like, I was super dead. At least that's what it felt like. I was like, yeah, if you look at the numbers, you were even more dead than you probably thought you were in the game. And then, of course, a couple of the PvPs. I mean, that first game, it felt that Strange was winning. DnS takes it away. Game 2, it feels that Strange has been a bit too crazy, mix of both. But pulls off a miraculous hold with the Blinky boys, and here we are in Game 3.
Here we are in Game 3. Wonderful Game 3. I'm excited for seeing what happens. It's a Romanticide as well. We've already had one PvP become pretty epic on Romanticide.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't think that's necessarily something that Strange wants to try and play for. That's not the kind of player I feel like he is, but we'll see what he can do. You know, he was really kind of sticking on, and I feel, you know, rightfully so, stuck on Immortal Archon in that last game, right? Like, he didn't try and take up the Disruptors, etc.
No.
It's harder to do that on this map, because it is going to be more difficult to find those attacks in to just win on Romanticide.
It definitely is, but yeah, to go and touch on that point real quick, I think it's very silly to enter a Disruptor war if you don't need to enter a Disruptor war, right? If you can just finish the game with an A-move comp, do that, because no matter how good you are, all it takes is one Disruptor tucked away in a weird corner, because we often move our Disruptors in a group, because you group your Disruptors separately from the rest of the army, which means your Disruptors like to stay together. And if you then get flanked by one Nova and you lose 5 Disruptors, well, any advantage you build up in the early game or the mid game is gone. So if you can avoid those games, you definitely want to avoid it and just capitalize on the lead you created for yourself.
Very, very true. Why take the risk if you don't need to? As both players open with a pylon out on the map, neither of them doing anything with it, but obviously it's just a little bit of a mind game for the scouting of their opponents.
Strange going to drop a Twilight console before expanding. That is something that's not super common. It's a little more common for him.
Sending this probe back down to that pylon, so that pylon is going to be used, Roddy.
Yep, but DnS does have double sentry, and obviously if we open up double sentry, we're gonna have very quick access to those phoenixes, and the first hallucinated phoenix is already making its way to the other side of the map. And DnS is good enough to pick up on the fact that this nexus is a little bit later than my nexus. Strange starting blink as a fake. He is so smart, and he's even chrono boosting it out, or is it fake? What if it's just a gateway and he wants to just blink into the natural again?
Yeah, that's very possible as well. I didn't think of that. It just seemed like the time was perfect for the Dark Shrine, but I'll happily be wrong. Looks like Blink is pretty well committed to here, so yeah, I'm gonna run with that. We do see DnS gonna hallucinate down the left side, so we might get to fly over that pylon here very soon.
Yep. And then it's game 1 all over again. I wonder if we're gonna get a cannon. Probably not. Probably no cannon this time.
That probe just patrolling hallucination is gonna see all of that. And Twilight Robo against Twilight
This is
Robo.
kind of funny, matey. That they're both warping in 2 adepts in like 4 minutes in, which is kind of just a random time to warp in adepts. Well, because it's so random, these are often the adepts that are most successful. What I like of DnS is that he's waiting, because now he's sending his stalkers to the bottom side, but he has to worry about the 2 adepts. It's Strange has also been warping in on his side. I mean, this is going to be blood on both sides. Oh, no wall off in the main. Adepts in the main. Can we recall? Yes, we can, and I think we should.
Yep, because they're going to start getting a lot of kills right now, and his adepts are going to actually cancel that shade up, so they are going to move into the natural and get some kills. So at least both players will get some damage here, but DnS still having to struggle with this. I mean, right now, these sentries could be killed off as well. Strange is going to shade down to the natural. It seems not sure what is down there. The rest of the stalkers are banned. 8 probes to 7. It might even be 8 to 8. Wow. Amazing.
Turns out that when you both pull off a good move, you both find a lot of damage. Oh, Strange's like, no, I want more. We'll make it 9. So he picks off that final probe there of DnS. And obviously, Strange did lose that pylon, right? He lost that pylon that he was building in the bottom side of all of this. Wow, what a way to kick off game 3.
Yeah, very exciting stuff. DnS has a bit of an army supply lead at the moment, though, so didn't tech as quickly right away and just got a few more units out, and that's definitely shown in the supplies at the moment. Now, Strange also has a bit of money still to spend, and he is fast on the +1, so a few different advantages across the board in this PvP.
Yeah, I feel like whatever's like the biggest issue maybe here for Strange is that I felt like he had a clear plan on how he wanted to win this game, right? And that's with the proxy gateway and just hit when he would have blink and his opponent wouldn't have blink. It's a strategy that's not really supposed to work, because if you're both doing the same thing, then there is defender's advantage. But Strange idea of making it work is just like, no, you're going to build more probes, you're going to go up to 3 bases, and then he's going to hit you with an overwhelming amount of units. But now that plan has been kind of thrown out of the window because he lost his pylon and the gateway. But then we both killed a lot of adepts, and it's like, oh, all right, I guess we're just gonna macro or something? Question mark. You know, it's like kind of a confusing spot to be in, because your original plan didn't really work out, but you also don't hate where you currently are.
Yeah, definitely a bit of a mixed set of feelings here. Stalkers and DnS coming down, looking to get rid of this base, and actually Strange a good supply block too. So as DnS blinks forward, there's a brave blink and there's a mortal involved. Shouldn't be able to do too much more there, but it's not a bad start.
Adepts. Strange kind of missed those 2 adepts shading in, and now the adepts are pulling the entire army of Strange out of position, and that is what will allow the stalkers and sentries of DnS to get a cancel on that nexus, and he will recall home. What a cool attack by DnS. Very well done.
Yeah, very well handled here. Is just going to be seeing a few probes go down, and DnS just extending on a little bit of a lead in this game. Still behind on that attack upgrade, but other than that, things do start to look good for him elsewhere.
What do we do now for Strange? Do we try to re-expand when we're down 10 workers and our opponent's nexus is close to finishing up? Or do we try to get something out of the little immortal advantages we have?
I don't know, really. I feel like you've always been behind on army, right? So even with the immortal advantage, it feels like it might be difficult to make something happen. He has 2 gateways, though. He starts up Glaive, so maybe just really commits to that and hopes that it's enough. Maybe hopes that DnS gets a bit too greedy.
I think he's gonna go for like a 2-bay. After this immortal, we're gonna build a war prism, and then we go for a 2-base immortal stalker glaive all in.
Yeah, you can't set +2. You can't wait for +2. You can wait for Glaive, but not +2.
No, that's gonna be so long. Then you have to expand it. Yeah, I'm with you there. Good point. Because this +2 upgrade is only halfway done. So then by the time that he would attack, I mean, DnS has been mining all this 3-base setup for 2.5 minutes. DnS is even going up to 4 bases. I think that's a little overrated, DnS. If our opponent's still on 2, I don't think you need 4, mate.
Absolutely. I mean, that just feels like it's opening the doorway for Strange to come on through and make this attack work out. So maybe, Brody, maybe.
Well, he's actually going to build pylons next to the Nexus too, even though he just scouted that Strange is still on 2 bases. So either he's just ultra confident or this is a mistake. And we're about to find out in less than a minute. I mean, Strange did wait for his +2. This is really odd, guys. We don't often see this in Legacy of the Void. A 9-minute 2-base all-in. I mean, sure, we tried to expand and whatnot. 9-minute 2-base all-in with Blink, Immortals, a crap ton of sentries. You know, there's already an Arkham finishing up. How many adepts do we have? I mean, it's so pointless to get Resonating Glaive, but then attack without any adepts, right? We need at least 10 plus adepts, in my opinion, to really get value out of these adepts.
I'm with you. It's definitely not right now seeming like there's enough. I guess the next Vulcan will be adepts as well, but the power of the adepts is meant to be there ready to shade in right at the start of the fight, and that's not really the case here, so I want to like it for Strange, but let's see. He's going to walk in the extra steps now, and I guess that's where they commit. Force field's going down. Strongest in the blink forward. They do find the Immortal in amongst all of this. The other Immortal on the top side. Super Battery working on some Zealots that are blocked behind Force fields. DnS looks like way too much.
Yep, DnS is too much, and this is why you don't often see the 9-minute all-ins. I mean, if it wasn't for that battery and that immediate snipe on the Immortal, I actually kind of believe for a split second there in Strange's chances. But the execution of the attack wasn't really there. DnS is an overwhelming amount of units. He did cancel his next during all of this. Links forward, picks up the Prism, and will be able to clean up the rest of the army of Strange here and win another best of 3. And the DreamHack